Hey guys, what you laugh?
I was smiling at the camera. So
Hey guys, it's Barry
and Silas.
in another episode of Between Two Shoes. So today we will be talking about the Rick cop boots
Yes.
and the GUIDI back zips.
In a head-to-head battle to find out which is the best shoe ever made.
Let's start with a bit of a background about these two boots. I mean, would you consider them to be pretty popular?
Amongst the goth ninja scene. Yeah, they're pretty popular, I'd say. They're probably the entry-level, beginner-level type boots, the first brands that people know about when they first try to research more about this genre of fashion.
When they're trying to move from being a hype beast into maybe an archive beast.
Yeah.
Cringe. Yeah, so I think the GUIDI back zips, I think it's a pretty standard staple, right? It's either the back zips or the front zips.
Yeah, so what do you think? Which one do you prefer personally? Do you prefer the back zips or the front zips?
Considering that these are the ones that are sitting on my table right now, I definitely prefer the back zips. For the Ricks though, I don't know, I mean, people normally associate Ricks with Joe Baskets, Ramones.
Yeah, so I've never really been into rigs for the longest time because of that scene actually. I personally never liked the look of it, but then that sort of deterred me from like venturing deeper into Rick Owens in general. But once I did, which was like the past 3 years, I think it started getting really interesting. Like I'd say Rick is probably, I mean, no surprise lah, but probably a lot of people's favorite designers, myself included, one of their favorite designers of all time. Top tier.
I mean, he's been around for a while, but it feels like only recently has he started to gain some mainstream acceptance. And when Silas suggested making a video about Ricks versus GUIDIs, to be honest, the cop boots were not what I had in mind, as he was saying.
But you wanted the kiss heels,
Yeah lah, no money man.
Memang lah. Man.
My experience with Ricks started with the Adidas collaborations. I think the very first one that caught my eye were the original runners. What was that? Was it SS14? It was the Vicious collection, right? I've since sold a bunch of Ricks, but the missus has still kept some of hers. So like stuff like the stars, the sock runners, the thigh-high tech runners. And these are my personal favorites, the Boost runners. If I could fit into these, I would have stolen them from her already. But
just get your own.
boleh lah. Boleh for CCP tapi boleh
for
Ricks. Alright, let's get right into it then. First category.
History. I would say, I know obviously like if you're talking about years, GUIDI has a beat. So GUIDI started in around the 1890s as a leather tannery though, and they've only recently in the past, 10, 20 years, started doing footwear, artisanal footwear. So before this they were tannery. They've actually supplied a lot of leather to Margiela, a lot of high-end brands, but the reason it's arguable is because Rick, top-tier designer, top tier. I think he really changed the fashion game. I'd say Rick was still very ahead of his time. He's still really ahead of his time. He's always innovating, always has something new. Like right now, the whole hype behind it is the fact that it's so different from what he used to do before, and people are grabbing onto that.
So would you say that that Rick has more cultural significance today, but GUIDI has more history?
Heritage lah. GUIDI has more heritage, but Rick is he's just too significant a designer lah, you know.
But even with GUIDI also, I think even until today, you still see that they're supplying leathers to like the likes of like Incarnation, for instance. Popular. I mean, no, not the mic. I feel like this could be split into two categories here: cultural significance and history. How do you score this?
Low-key bias lah. Rick has done more for the fashion community than GUIDI has done for shoes.
Okay, so let's score it.
Rick 1.
Rick 1, GUIDI hello. Alright, next category then. Price and value.
Okay,
how much do you pay for these?
Another hard one. Okay, so how much did I pay for these is not the concern. Retail price. These are around 4 to 7K, depending where you can find them. And these were specifically this model in particular was 5K.
Wait, what currency are we talking?
Ringgit.
For our international audiences, it's about 5 to 7K ringgit.
Google it lah. Google the currency lah. Come on, we do the same for you.
Ringgit.
Every time I'm on Grill, I have to open a new Google page tab and I have to be like Malaysian ringgit to USD conversion. Like, every time I can't. Come on.
Exactly.
And then I have to calculate tax prices also.
Yep. And for this video, we're going to be talking about weight in kilograms. Alright, so back to price, as we were saying. So at retail, the GUIDIs cost more.
Oh, well, I thought, listen, never mind. So the GUIDIs cost more, but I'd say in terms of resale, how would you rate them?
Considering the everlasting appeal of back zips, they still fetch a pretty good price on resale, right?
So the thing is, I paid like so low for these because they are completely beat. The zippers were completely shredded. I had to get them replaced. I had to get a replacement pair from GUIDI. And they're not the popular black smooth horse leather variant. Yeah, so I got these for next to nothing. Not next to nothing lah, but considering they're GUIDIs and considering how much they go for, they are pretty cheap. And they were fully vibrant as well.
Okay. So are you gonna tell us how much you paid for
No. About 300 USD lah. It's a pretty good price for GUIDI. Normally you can find them for around 7 to 900 USD for this model in particular. If you want to get the front zips, which are cooler by the way, you're gonna spend upwards of 1K USD.
Okay. So pretty good value for this particular pair.
Yeah. And then for the rigs, I got these for like 600. And actually these go for quite a lot. Like rigs in general go for quite a lot, but I got these for a bit cheaper because they were storefront.
Okay. Display.
Yeah, display. These were display models, I think, from Fall Winter 18 now.
So more expensive, cheaper, yet these are more popular. I feel like these could probably resell easier than those.
Because these are very specific design from Rick, and Rick is not known just for one design.
Whereas every other entry-level archive beast
will be looking for GUIDIs.
Cringe.
Yeah. Imagine I open an archive store on Instagram and then just sell jeans for okay, no, good. Yeah, I actually quite like the jeans, just so you know. Oh my god, I'd say it's a Tyler. I can't really.
I'm leaning more towards the GUIDIs just because you got them so much cheaper and they can resell better.
Okay, yeah, I could give it to the GUIDIs.
Okay. Precise methodology. I have a master's in economics, okay. Design-wise,
what's your opinion on how they look?
I'm biased to the back zips. It's strange because like I never had a GUIDI phase. I've never owned any GUIDIs. I made the jump from Rick to Boris and then to CCP, so I missed the GUIDI phase entirely. But the back zips and the front zips have always held some appeal for me. So I'm biased to this.
You just like the grotesque nature of them, is it?
I suppose so.
But then, one thing I've seen on a lot of forums is people that, they like CCP but they don't buy GUIDI, they tend to avoid them because they're unstructured, they're too unstructured.
Like floppy.
No, I'd say the toe box, because it looks too unstructured. Okay, that aside, there's this shape, right? It's very it looks appealing as an object, but on body it's kind of hard to style. But let's not get into that. That's another category. So
what you're talking about is the more refined shape of the rigs versus the distressed,
unstructured. Because people like CCP has a very structured toe box. M Moria has a very structured toe box. Layer Zero has a very structured toe box. CDM has a very structured toe box. Talking about all these dead brands. But anyways, yeah. So the reason why people mostly prefer those, why are you smelling my shoes?
So in general, I feel like they're a little bit of it's apples and oranges, right? What do you say? Tapak, you want to say something? Tapak? So there are kind of like different sensibilities different approaches to design, a different ethos, right? In terms of construction, right? What do you think?
So technically, we don't know what both of these, the particular methodology of how they're constructed. GUIDI says they're hand welted or hand sewn, but we don't know if it's welted, or at least maybe I didn't do my research so much.
Yes.
So they're hand welted. Okay, so but then the thing about GUIDIs is that they object dye the whole thing, and that makes them shrink and sort of create all these distressing that's very visually pleasing, but at the same time kind of compromises the build of it as well. Now these rigs, I have no idea what their construction method is, but you can see a welt, clearly, a welt sewing, but it could, I don't know if it's, I mean you can see it from the sole as well, so it probably is Goodyear welted, and they have the thing called Goodyear Flex on the bottom, so it's probably Goodyear welted.
Yep.
So I'd say construction wise, how?
Looks like a tie to me.
Yeah, probably a tie lah.
Leather wise?
They're both horse leather, but as you can see clearly, these are like, and this one's like
floppy.
This one's not.
When you wake up in the morning and later in the afternoon.
So it depends on what you're looking for. In terms of sturdiness, like these are cracking, but they've been around for ages. Then there's the whole debate between rough out versus smooth versus grain. Because rough out is more abrasion resistance, but smooth is more water repellent. Stuff like that.
So again, it's back to the kind of
what do you prefer?
Correct. It's a question of like what fits into your own personal wardrobe and your style.
I'd say they're both horse leather, so you can't go wrong with either of them. They're both like super sturdy, unless you're like
durable as well.
Yeah, right? Very durable.
Okay. All right. So it's a tie then.
Yeah, it's a tie.
Next one, comfort. Floppy.
1 point.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. I actually thought of something. So these have an insole with an arch support. It's like, first time I got these, right, I was quite surprised because it has like a mid insole. Midsole. Okay, anyways, it's padded. There's a padded arch. These are just straight up just like your typical flat leather sole, which is appealing also.
So these don't come with insoles, do they? Again,
no, they don't come with insoles. Those are the insoles. They don't come with removable insoles. So both of these come with just standard non-removable insoles. But rigs are surprisingly comfortable. I think Rig being a designer that it focuses more on general mass appeal, like, you know, how can we sell this to as much consumers as possible? Obviously, they'll focus more on comfort though.
Do you know if these are well, this part, at least the upper, looks machine stitched to me.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
These ones actually kind of look like, yeah, this is probably machine stitched also.
But it's like hand machine stitched lah.
Yeah, so it's machine stitched over here, but then over here it's probably hand welted.
It's like the old world aesthetic of GUIDI. What were we talking about?
Sorry, we're talking about comfort. Yes.
Yeah, but okay, so these gave me a blister the first 5 times I wore them because of how hardy the uppers are. I'd still give it to the GUIDIs. The GUIDIs just feel like slippers. They're so comfortable. As much as I love the arch support, these are just sturdy. They're, you know, depends on what you like, but as we talked about in the previous video, I think overall the softness of a shoe really helps with comfort.
But we also got to give a bit of weight to the fact that these guys you got them used. And these guys are supposed to be pretty new. So you have to break them in naturally.
But they're gonna be, I've worn this a lot, and they're still gonna, I don't think they're ever gonna lose the structure just because of the material of it. GUIDIs, I think, come like this out of the box. So if we're gonna talk about comfort, I still say GUIDIs.
Okay, alright, so next category, durability.
What do you think, just from handling them?
These feel, I don't know, from a noob perspective, tougher shoe can tahan longer. Softer shoe probably needs to be, I don't know, maintained a little bit more regularly.
Considering they both have a reputation of just being tough as nails.
Like they can
withstand anything.
Lift it long, right?
But I would say because these are object dyed and, you know, they have all these folds and stuff, you have to maintain these probably more. Because they're probably, you know, the way they shrink and the way they crease and all that, the way they wear.
Have you noticed anything about the stitching, the zips, or whatever, ever since you replaced the zips?
Yeah, actually. Cobblers, like your generic cobbler, is gonna mess up the stitching on these because apparently it's too thick.
Oh,
So yeah, but these had no problem.
soft enough for your run-of-the-mill cobblers to stitch and repair the zippers, huh? Okay. Alright. In terms of maintenance, what do you recommend? Do you care for your boots at all?
Yeah, I put leather conditioner mainly. Normally when I first get them, I just put a light coating because you don't want to oversaturate your boots. And then, yeah, you just try to care for them. If they get too dirty, you just clean them every once in a while. I'm generally quite lazy when it comes to maintenance. Definitely more lazy than I used to be.
So, how would you score these?
I'd say, yeah, durability, these are probably more durable.
Okay, next one. Versatility. How well do they go with mirrored outfits?
Rigs are generally, they're quite infamous for being hard to style with anything other than other rig. But that's also why I went with these, because these are very generic. Silhouette wise, they're very carpe-esque.
Not as extreme, right? A bit more clean. I can imagine them going with suits also.
Yeah, but I wouldn't choose these for a suit unless you live in colder weather, because the shaft on these is pretty high. And that's also one of the reasons I got these, because these are my tallest boots, I think. And they tend to go really well. Like they even look good with shorts, you know? Just has this, because apparently, so they're called the cop boot, right? And so I did a quick Google search on cop boots, and apparently it's a type of boot that was used in BDSM for like the gay community in like, I don't know, the 80s or something. Might be wrong, like correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, so it has the height. It just looks so clean, but it's also very specific. I think at the end of the day, if you ask your run-of-the-mill archivist, they'll probably say the GUIDIs are more versatile.
That's true. You tend to see the GUIDIs paired with a lot of those kind of like flowy yogi style outfits also, right?
Oh, which I love, by the way. And also they do a lot of people wear them with skinny jeans, slacks.
That's true. I think jeans, whether tucked in or not, also these would look pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you have those nice stacks, you know, in the front here.
One thing against these is they're not structured, but most people don't care about that. They only care that they're GUIDIs.
Don't be like that, okay?
I mean, no, it's fine. You know what? No one, wear what you like.
Okay, lah. Okay, so how do you score this?
I still say GUIDIs.
Okay, next one, sizing. So how okay, for someone looking to get into either of these brands, right? I guess the question is always like, should I size up? Should I size down? How consistent are they?
So I generally wear a EU 44. For these, I size down to a 43, and for these, I size up to a 45.
I feel like that's the general rule of thumb for GUIDIs and rigs. For GUIDIs, size
I'd say the general rule of thumb for rigs is size down. The general rule of thumb for GUIDIs is ask first, because you don't know, because they are so like object-eyed and they shrink and they wrap and you know all these things. Rigs win lah, consistency.
Okay. Last one, availability. How easy is it to get a cop boot versus a back zip?
Maybe not in this particular colorway and leather, but it's easier to get a back zip. I think cop boots are not as popular as creepers.
Correct.
But I generally like cop boots more, personally.
And this ties into my earlier point that you can probably find this easier at resale. It's easier for you to resell them also.
Because GUIDI keeps making the same thing over and over again.
Because they still sell. I mean, and
because they're a heritage company, right?
Whether you're a guy or a girl, I think these are pretty popular either in either gender.
They're so popular you can find them on Taobao also.
Link below. Yeah, so I think in terms of retail, if you want to get them at retail, generally because they are regarded as sort of like entry level, if you're just sort of dipping your toes into this archive fashion or like avant-garde fashion, you'd probably be able to find them at most luxury, the edgier luxury stores.
AKA nowhere in Malaysia.
Yeah lah, sad on. But in terms of specific models, I think Silas has a point. Back zips are going to be always more easily available compared to cop boots.
Yeah, because these were specifically for winter 18.
But they do come back, right?
Cork boot is quite a recurring theme with rigs, but I'd say if you want something like this, you should probably get them sooner than later because rigs pretty much heading towards the Tyrone bandwagon, and eventually it's probably all gonna be Lego soles, tractor soles, sorry, and Kiss heels.
Okay.
And Converse.
And Doc Martens. Okay, availability, Antoine?
Guidi Wino.
Okie dokie. Alright, so that was our extensive review with super detailed and precise methodology. Lots of research went into this, as you can see. The final score, Silas, tell us what it is.
It's actually quite close, surprisingly close. I mean,
Expected? Unexpected?
It's expected. It's expected.
That's
Sorry, my
expected.
brain very slow. Anyways, yeah. So for the rigs got a 4, and the Guidis
Scored a 5. Alright, that's it then. Thanks for watching, guys. Let us know what you want to see in our upcoming videos. Let us know in the comments. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like what you see, give us a follow. Thanks, guys. Talk, say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Oh yeah, check out our
Haven't finished
Instagram.
Okay, sorry.
No lah, finish lah.
Okay. Damn a lot of talk off, man.